To LinkedIn, like I don't know what's happening. It says we're live. I don't know. Are we live? Let me go to LinkedIn and see if we're live.
All right, let's check it out. Are we live?
And are we recording?
That's right. Another
I
question.
think we are. Yep.
All
Okay,
right.
let me go
Actually, if
here.
anybody's watching yet, will you just give us a hey in the chat and we'll know?
Great
Mm, this is
idea.
why they hire me.
This is why you get the big bucks.
That's right.
This does not say we're live. This says we're pre-live. So I think.
Oh, they're really waiting down to the wire of the 10 o'clock, right?
I don't know. Oh, you'll need to end this broadcast and create a new one. I don't understand. Why? Is this the 10:30? Did I put 10? Did I hit the wrong one? I don't understand. I mean, I don't know what to say.
We don't know what to do.
What time you got?
I have 10:01 on my computer.
Happening now. Yeah. Okay, we're live. We're live. Hello, everybody. There are
Hey,
other people here. Hey, everyone. I can't post comments. I don't know why. That's a little stressful for me. So, hello, Amanda.
hey, man. Good
Great.
to see you.
Okay. So for some reason I can't post in the comments, which is kind of a bummer. Hi, Chad. I was gonna just text you and say we're going live, baby. Chad, will you do me a favor? Can you throw a link to the podcast in the chat? I can't. I don't know why I can't. But so welcome, people. We're gonna give it a few more minutes. I love. Yeah, so good to see you too, Chatty Cat. Beth, I think Chad is secretly obsessed with you. Because he's always like, I love how Beth said this, and I love how Beth, and I didn't know Beth used to be a hairdresser. Hi, Kathleen. And he's like a little obsessed. Yep, there you go.
Chad,
Um,
let's be friends. Let's chat.
let's chat. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes. We had over 100 people RSVP. Now, I realize it's not like my wedding where everybody who RSVP'd show up. Can't say I blame them, but yeah.
All right, we'll give them a minute.
Well, there you go, Beth. You're fierce. You're fierce. That's what Chad says.
Thank you. I like that.
Okay. So, all right, we will go ahead and give it like one more minute. I can't see how many people are in here. Can you? Oh, you can see on LinkedIn. Hang on.
That's okay.
We are high tech over here at Unmute Yourself, the podcast.
Yes, we are.
Here we go. Nancy Medoff is live. Oh, we're going to give it one more minute. So Chad, Kathleen, Amanda, would love for you guys to throw some comments in the chat about what you would like to see on future podcasts.
Yeah, we would love
And
that.
Emily. Emily? Who didn't show up to your wedding? Highly inappropriate. I would send them a bill, frankly. That's what I would do.
I'm
Okay.
very comfortable calling them out for you. Right
What, who are they? Let's name them here. Throw them in there. All right. So why don't we go ahead? You want to give it one more minute, Beth? I don't want to. What do you think?
So for those of you who are here, where are you joining our live from? Where are you located?
Yep, that'd be great.
Let's hear that.
I also noticed that, Emily, you can mention names. I noticed that, what did I notice? So we invited people to the live podcast session, everybody except our podcast community. We did not give them specific date and time. So Podsters, as you're listening to this, we are going to, hi, David. I can see your comments. I can't see your face though, unfortunately. David's in Newton. Okay. I'm going to get distracted with the chat. This is what happens. It's like, eh. So Podsters, for those of you listening that are in our podcast community and didn't know about the live, we are going to go live maybe every week, maybe from time to time, maybe several times a week. Don't know. So we forgot you all. Sorry about that. And for those of you that are attending live, we love it. From Vermont, we have Massachusetts. The invitations I sent out were US only for this one, so I don't know that we're going to have as much of our international audience. We are now streaming in 34 countries. 34.
That's
Cray
right.
cray. Do you remember when we were excited about 7? Do you remember that?
I remember when we hit 100 views.
That's so funny. That's great. I
It's
love it.
exciting. It's fun.
It's
It's really
exciting.
fun.
Yep, it's
Anybody
been
who
great.
hesitates to have a podcast, it's fun. We've learned a lot, fly by the seat of our pants, and yet here we are on LinkedIn Live.
Well, and you have to pick the right partner, like I did.
Like I did too.
Right. All right, why don't we get started?
All right.
So we are, oh, yeah, okay. So just really quick again, for those of you that are making comments, it's a little delayed on our part. And for some reason, I can't respond. So, Beth, what are we talking about?
We are talking about spring cleaning. And
Mm-hmm.
we don't mean under your couch and in your closet.
Although that's important.
Very much so.
Yep. So what do we mean?
Although I'm going to make a comparison. I was thinking about this. Nancy made these beautiful notes, and then I just kind of went in to make sure I understood and wrote myself some notes. So I was thinking about all the places we stuff things, right? Physical items that we own. And so, right, we want to clean our desk, our files, our garages, our basements, closets, under the bed, behind the furniture. And why do we do it? We do it because it creates space. It creates flow of energy. I mean, if you listen to anyone who talks about feng shui, they're like, you can't have anything blocking energy, the flow of it in your rooms and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it really creates a lightness and an energy. And sometimes we hesitate to clean out, especially if we're talking figuratively about clean out our minds or our concepts or that sort of stuff. We hesitate, but yet when we do it, there is like this freeing. Would you agree, Nancy?
Agree or disagree? I agree. And I would add that I would only add that the converse of that is that when you stuff everything, so what I will do sometimes is stuff everything into a drawer.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know why I keep saying that word. I can't pronounce it. I need a different word, a cubby. Then it gets too full and you can't fit anything else in it. So I'm going to share a story. I have this little sock drawer and I throw all my socks in there. I actually have 2 sock drawers, but whatever. So I couldn't open the drawer. And there were so many pairs of socks in there, and I kept pulling socks out and pulling socks out and pulling socks out. And I was like, and I made the analogy about, you stuff all this stuff in your head and you can't get to the good stuff. So I was trying to get to my good socks. And there were all these other socks I had to get out of the way. And I'm like, well, no wonder I can't think. No wonder I can't, focus. It's because all this stuff is in here. So I think it's a great point. I think it's a great point. Good point, Beth. Good point. Yeah. So the reason why we were talking about spring cleaning was because I think both of us actually came up with this at the same time, didn't we?
Yeah, it was.
I think we did. Yeah. So what happened for me was there was something about spring cleaning, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to regroup and I'm going to spring clean my life. I'm going to spring clean my mind. I'm going to spring clean my spirit, my priorities, my boundaries, everything. And so I do all my medical appointments in July around my birthday. So every year in July, I go get all my checkups and all my annual things. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if, as a practice, you, me, every spring, as you're cleaning out your closets and your sock drawer and whatever, you kind of regrouped and renewed kind of yourself and what's ahead of you. Beth, thoughts on that?
Yes. So almost like a tune-up, right? Like an all-inclusive tune-up. How do you like that?
I mean, yeah.
Cleaning out the cobwebs at the corners of your existence. How about that?
I like that. I mean, I like that. There's a lot of them. That's why I'm laughing.
That's for sure.
That's not an easy task.
Yeah, no, I think it's really good. And you also brought up, and I'm looking at our fabulous notes that, winter's this time where you kind of hunker down. It's really easy to like snuggle under a blanket and, maybe let some things go and, do things to make you comfortable, right? In the cold, we want that comfort.
Mm-hmm.
We want like a fire. We want hot chocolate. We want all of these things, but it's, it can be a little bit slowing. It's not necessarily motivating, right? It's not that time where you're like, yeah, I'm going out. I'm going to nail it. And I think the issue with this past year is that we also just spent 2.5 years in that mindset. And then we come back to the winter. I think it's just easy to fall into that and kind of just collect stuff and not worry about it. But now it's like sun's coming out,
Hmm.
temperatures are changing, we got a brighter view. So we gotta change that. So how do we do it? We give ourselves a little bit of a tune up, right?
Love it. Love it. And I love that you brought up winter because one of the things I wanted to talk about was what habits, spring cleaning your habits. So what habits did you slip into in the winter that are not going to serve you moving forward? For me, ironically enough, it's easing into my day. So in the winter, I like to come down a little later, have my coffee, light a candle, maybe journal. And I love that. But when I'm in it, that's not going to work. So I need to get up, I need to work out, then I need to have my coffee, then I can start my day. And just this past week, I don't think it's a coincidence, I've been going back to that because if I start slow, the whole day goes slow and that does not serve me. That doesn't work. It works every now and then, but yeah, not that often. So that's a habit I think I'm going to change moving forward.
Yeah, and I also think, like, for me, that's, like, my weekend mindset, like, to get up. I'm an early riser, although I do have trouble getting up when it's dark out. I'm still like, "I'm getting up now?" But I do it. A few more weeks, I won't feel that way anymore. Um, but, yeah, I like to get up on the weekend. I like the quiet. I like to go at a certain pace, but during the week, I'm like, "Let's go, 5:45. Let's exercise.
Yep,
Let's little
for sure.
meditation, little whatever, and let's get going." So, yeah, and because for me, I don't know about you, when it's dark, one of my habits is as soon as it's dark in the winter, I think it's time to change into pajamas. So
100%.
there are days at, 4:30 before I'm cooking dinner or anything, I'm in my pajamas and I'm like, "Oh," and I was never really like that before the, fabulous pandemic, so
Yeah, it's interesting. So, Podsters, for those of you that are live with us, throw a note in the chat about if there's any habits. We won't use your name. If there's any habits that you would like to spring clean and get rid of. I know there's a couple for some of you, so I'd like to see if you're vulnerable enough to share that. Um, yes, and Beth, sometimes I'll spend the whole day in my pajamas, and it's just not great. I mean, it is what it is, but on a Saturday or Sunday, that's fine. It's just not good for your mindset. To your point, it goes back to the whole pandemic. Like you got to wake up and get into your day. So, do you have any more habits before we move on?
let me see what I wrote down here. I wrote about movement. I also wrote about connection, and I know we're gonna talk about that in another level, but I think it's just easier to kinda hunker down and, not really reach out and just be home and, like you're in your cave. So there's that, and I also wrote down here, "Look good, you feel good." I think it's also really easy to, like, not worry so much about what you're wearing, like, you're really just concerned about being warm and being comfortable, and,
Mm-hmm.
we get a little pale, not that I can get any paler than I am, but, you lose a little bit of color and all that sort of stuff. So I think it helps if you are like, "Oh," like, I love doing this because then I'm like, "Oh, we're gonna go live today. What jewelry am I gonna wear?" And then that makes me feel really good.
Totally. I totally agree. We have some comments in the chat which are really great. Yeah. So I said I wouldn't use names, so I won't. But one of our new podsters talks about adding rather than eliminating. That's a great point. So maybe you're not eliminating, or maybe you're not changing a habit. Maybe you're adding one or getting back to a habit. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's see, TV vegging. Oh gosh, yeah, the streaming thing, right? The streaming thing it's fun because you have something to talk about with people, but at the same time, like, there are many times where I'm like, I really should be sleeping rather or reading rather than binging Poker Face, which I love.
I
But
saw a great meme or a great quote on Instagram yesterday, actually. It was FOMO for when you should be sleeping. And they said, nothing worthwhile happens 11 o'clock after 11 o'clock that you're missing. Go to bed. And I did. I'm like, that's a really great point. That's a really great point.
mm,
I usually keep my phone in the kitchen. I don't bring it into the bedroom with me. And I've been bringing it in with me just for a number of reasons that won't make sense to anybody else. And I'm like, you know what? I have to get back to I have to get back to putting it back in the kitchen because it's there. It's the blue light. It's there. So that I am going to commit podsters right now That is my call to action. I will no longer have my, I will go back to not having my phone in the bedroom. So, those of you that are listening, how many of you take your phone in the bedroom with you? David, I know you do. I bet you do. Um, I'd love to hear who does that. So, what about your mind, Beth? Because I love this idea of spring cleaning your thoughts. Do you
Yeah.
have anything on that before I jump
I
in?
I do. I do think that again, if you're busy snuggling on the couch and you have a lot of things you can ponder when you're less active, right? Your mind can really get going. And so I think it's good to get rid of some of those things. And ooh, Lord, let's see, Audible. What else?
Everybody,
So
everybody puts their phone in the bedroom.
Susie Moon is in Wisconsin. So that's not international, but it's not regional. That's for sure.
Thank you, Susie. You get the furthest away award today. So
So
what was the
one of the things for me that I notice is when I start to jump back into things and get going, it's mind drama. And I had some this week.
mm,
I actually spoke in two networking groups online virtually this week. And for one of them, I had to make a slide presentation, which I've never done. The mind drama around this thing. And I was like, finally, I was like, you know what? I have two choices: do it or don't do it. If I don't do it, I'm going to be really embarrassed because then I'm going to have to say, well, I didn't do it because I don't know how to do it and blah, 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 which is not true. I can do it. It was simple. I went into Canva. Many of you know I was Canva challenged about a year and a half ago. Kathleen Lawson, who's actually here, she helped me. And I was like, this is crazy. Why was I so worried about Canva? So I actually thought about that. And so mind drama is a thing that like it pops up. And I'm really trying now to be like, okay, drama away for 30 seconds, but then get it done.
right?
That's,
It's a feeling, not a fact. Or I mean, it's a good
that's right.
similarity.
What about you?
Yeah. About mind, yeah. So this is really interesting. I have been really mindful lately of the words I use. Um, and the words I use when I'm thriving and the words I use when I'm not thriving. And I think this might resonate with a few people. So, for example, a couple weeks ago when I was super busy with International Women's Day, this was a really popular post. I talked about how I frame my day. So it's, are you slammed or are you extraordinarily busy today? Are you, I have a lot of action items today, or today's extraordinarily busy, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of how I use those words. And I was talking to a friend who is making some bold moves in his business. And he said to me, I can't afford that right now. We were talking about something. I was working with him on his business, and he said, I can't afford that right now. And I said, I'd like you to try to say that differently. How can you say that differently? How about it's not a priority for me right now? And that's not a priority for my business right now, because you can't afford it. You could. You're choosing not to spend your money in that area right now, which is absolutely accurate. And it really changed. He said it a few times, and it really changed his whole affect and how he thought about his business. And it was pretty remarkable to see that happen with someone else. And now he says it all the time. Or now he says it's a regular thing that he says. And instead of saying, I can't afford that, like that makes you feel in scarcity mode and,
Mhm.
bad. Whereas it's not a priority. That tells you it's choice. Maybe it will be a priority later. I'm in charge. I control my destiny. And that one little shift in word choices, I think, was really powerful. So that's something I'm going to continue to be mindful of.
Right. So that was really great. And it made me think of, a really limited mindset and then go into flexibility, right? Well, I
Hmm.
can afford it, but maybe it will take some rearranging, or maybe it'll take reprioritizing, or rather than saying, no, I can't do it.
Yep, totally agree. Totally agree. Um, you mentioned, I think it was kind of going inward and not reaching out as often in
Hmm.
the winter. So that's a great segue to relationships. Um, what what are your thoughts on spring cleaning and relationships? Because I know we both want to talk about them. I think they might be a little different.
Yeah. Who did you hunker down with? Who are you looking forward to see again? Yeah, this is definitely another boundary thing or an adjustment thing, right? That Nancy and I have talked about this a lot about how who we want to spend our time with, when we want that to happen, and what do we do when we don't want that to happen, right? We did a friendship podcast session, right? So yeah, I don't know that I guess I'm not feeling that way about people right now, but I'm
Hmm.
also like right now, I think a lot of people are looking to get back together and connect in person, and I'm just, like, in this go mode at home in my box right now, like, just really feeling creative, which is typical to this time of the year, and just I would be okay if I didn't go out for the next, I don't know, 3 weeks or so. I could stay home, and I have a bunch of ideas and stuff like that, and I think it's hard because people don't always understand that if that's not how they are.
Which is a great boundary example, right? Like, well, should you be expected to see them on their terms? You just
Right.
said that's not how they are. Okay, but that's how you are.
Right, exactly. Well, I
Eh,
don't see them on there. I don't have a problem saying no in a situation like that.
yeah. Although one could argue, then why should they only see you on your terms? So
Yeah,
it's an in between, I think.
right. It has to be flexible, and I don't have a problem being flexible, but, sometimes you have a friend who's like, might wanna see you twice a week or like, I just don't have that, and I
Yeah.
have yeah, Emily said, "You and me both, Beth, made for the next 3
Homebodies.
or 4
Yeah.
weeks." Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
well, Emily's a writer too, so,
Yeah.
um, yeah.
So it's interesting. I have a friend and she's not very technological. She would not be listening to this podcast, so I feel comfortable sharing the story. Okay, so her and her husband go to bed extraordinarily early. Like, because he lives on the Cape, he has to go into Boston 3 days a week. He gets up at probably 3 a.m. every day, maybe 4. So no, I think 3. So they go to bed. She won't even tell me what time she goes to bed. The only time we can see them is at 11 a.m. on a weekend. That's the only time we can see them. If I have a party, she doesn't come. There's no dinner plans, none. If we have lunch plans, it's not 1 o'clock, it's 11 o'clock, so that they can get back to and okay. So I admire that because good for her, right? This is what works for her. At the same time, it's highly irritating because it doesn't. uh, Okay, and it's also somewhat disappointing because, and this Emily is going to go to your point about people don't like it when you set boundaries. Um, I resent it sometimes because I'm like, well, wait a minute, I can only see you on your terms, so I resent it
Yeah,
at the same time as I admire it. And there will come a time, and there are times when I say, I don't feel like going out at 11 o'clock in the morning. Like, I'm not going to, like, no, I'm not going to see her or him. And we don't see each other as much as maybe we used to because that doesn't work for me as much anymore. So I respect it and I understand that it might impact the relationship. And
yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Right, and
Interesting.
so must she if she's like, "Listen, I can only see people at 11." So,
Yeah.
then she allows you to decide if you are flexible there or you're not.
Hmm. Hmm.
But that is pretty those are pretty strong
Oh,
boundaries, and,
it's
you know,
hilarious, actually.
you said before, nothing good happens after 11, but there are a lot of good and fun things that happen before 11. She's missing
I
out.
know. I know. And you know what? That's their choice, and that's, good for them.
Right.
I find it interesting. I find it interesting. The other thing about relationships, well, hold on. I want to finish out boundaries. So, and all this talk about staying home, I am missing a lot of stuff because I'm not going out as much as I was, and I am really okay with that. So that's something that everybody else has to get used to is, yeah, no, I'm not, I don't go out. We eat early now. We never used to. If it's a late party, we probably won't go. And I'm really okay with that. And something that I say often, and people don't like it. And Emily, this is going to go back to your comment. I'm very comfortable with my decisions.
Mhm.
I
Right.
am. And I think that's a really good way when somebody has expectations that you're not willing to meet. It's a really good way to say, I hear you, and this is not up for negotiation. I'm very comfortable with my decisions. That's it, right?
Yeah.
Beth is she's like a squirrel there. She's getting distracted by the chat.
I'm reading the chat. Yeah, no, Lydia, which thank you, Lydia, for jumping in and listening with us today. Yeah, I do the same thing, Lydia, a lot of the times. And actually, Lydia and I are seeing each other tomorrow. But yeah, sometimes during the week, it's like I don't have it. I don't have the time. And I try to really keep my weeknights down to 2 nights a week where I have something going on,
Yeah. Yep.
which
Yeah.
I'm
That's
not
great.
always successful at, but I
Yeah.
used to go out all the time. I'll tell you what I am missing is that pre COVID, I used to meet a girlfriend a couple times a year for an overnight. And I love that. I kind of miss those like weekend road trips. And my daughter, Becca, who I think is listening today, is she lived in Philly. So, I used to be able to jump in the car and go to Philly. And I just like that time alone, that like, I don't know, kind of Jack Kerouac on the road kind
Yeah.
of.
It's great. It's great. It's when I have my best ideas. There's no
Yeah.
question. Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
getting itchy for that. I'm getting itchy for that. I'm going to have to get that back in my life.
All right. I love it. By the way, there's more on boundaries, everyone, in our July 5th episode of Unmute Yourself, the podcast. Nope, that was work-life balance. Boundaries are around Thanksgiving. We did some, we did boundaries at home and boundaries at work. We did two separate episodes. We are going to revisit boundaries because it's obviously such a hot topic. Okay, so what about spring cleaning your goals and your priorities? I think that the end of Q1 is a great time to reassess
Yes.
because you start out, as I call it, the little white bunny, all happy and excited and clean and ready to go. And then usually, like, I like the end of March because I think about, okay, what's realistic, what's not, what took the place of this goal for both my personal and my career. Are they still a priority? How am I making progress? And if I'm dreading something and making no progress, either get it off the list, outsource it, or do it. Like, this is a good time to be like, I have a huge, massive project that I'm making no progress on, and it's not optional. So I know now, like, April is the month I'm going to double down on it. How about you, Beth?
Yeah, I feel the same way. And I love this, concept that's been this trend for the past few years of the 90 days, the 3 months. It's like, the first 3 months were like a warm up, right? And now we're
Mhm.
hitting, now we can pick up the pace a little bit. And to your point, you actually made some notes in this, as the copywriter in me wants to say, if you're changing things and you feel like you're leveling up, or you are offering a new service, or maybe you haven't been that consistent with communicating with your clients, like, it's a really great time to think about your content and your messaging. And does it all, you know, is there a flow? If somebody reads about you on LinkedIn, are they going to read about you on Facebook or Instagram and know you're the same person? Right. And, you can have different voices, obviously, but there
Mhm.
should still be some clues that it's the same person. And does that transfer over to your website? And have you increased your pricing? And, is there language that has to go with that so that the value up levels as well? So there's a lot to kind of look at and say, do I have to realign some of my stuff so that I can get where I'm headed and reach my goal?
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. And that I had that I had some of that under the tactical portion. So spring cleaning your profile on LinkedIn doesn't matter if you're a business owner or if you work
Mhm.
for corporate America. If you're spring cleaning your office, why not spring clean your laptop, like your
Oh,
messaging, your resume, your key strengths, your testimonials, your memberships. I love spring cleaning finances too. So usually in the spring, I look at my recurring payments on Apple or wherever I have them. And I'm like, whoops, haven't used that in 6 months, and get rid of that. And to your point,
right.
Beth, your copy, and because I'll do that, I'll make a change in one place, and then I'll blow it off and not make the change in the other place. So this is old copy, and this is new copy, and it's bad. Oh well, it's not good. Let's not say bad. Let's choose our words.
Or
It's not ideal.
the other thing I'm going to say about that is you might go in and do that, or like quickly, I've done this before where I'm like, oh my God, my Facebook says this. And then I change it really quickly instead of, comparing all of them or writing a fresh one and then saying, okay, I'm going to put this here, here, and here so that there's some sort of connection there. So,
For sure. So podsters that are live with us, what is one area of your life that you think you will spring clean moving forward? Um, and or yeah, and or what is one thing you are hesitant to spring clean, or like you're having anxiety about it? Because we can use this opportunity to talk through that. Um, so we'll give it a couple seconds for people. Again, there's a delay in the comments. Oh, so the other thing, Beth, did you see the thing that I sent you while we're waiting for people to comment about shredding, the shredding event that Rockland Trust was doing? Did I
Oh,
send you that?
you didn't. You just wrote shredding event on the notes.
Yeah. So what Rockland Trust, which is my business bank, which is a bank here, they're doing, it's called a shredding event, where you can bring up to 2 big boxes of stuff and they will shred it for you. And I made the connection to spring cleaning because I'm like, what am I going to shred? What am I shredding and getting rid of? And what am I shedding and what am I shredding? And it was interesting. I haven't really gotten very far with it because it just happened yesterday, but
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was good. I thought that was good.
I think that is really good. Doing a total rebrand. That's right. Laura McDougall is a fabulous personal chef. And so she is rebranding. Her new company is going to be called is called the Wanderlust Table.
Love that. Oh,
It's
Laura,
the
I
name.
have some potential clients for you. I love that name.
Yeah.
That's
Let me
great.
know because I'll definitely connect you to Laura, or I'll give you her info and you can connect.
Yeah, that's great.
She's amazing.
Yep. So we have Emily's going to go through her old subscriptions and commitments. So Emily, can you explain a little bit more about what you mean by commitments? I think that's great because
Mm.
to me that means I'm going to go through everywhere I'm over committing and kind of tweak that down a little bit. Yeah. Um, yeah, we have a closet. We have my office space. Yeah, this is great. Awesome. It's so interesting because some people are saying personal, some people are saying career, and that brings us to my last point, which was we talked a lot on this episode about personal stuff, and what I have found is when you get your personal area in action, the rest will fall into place. So I think Becca said closets. When my closets, excuse me, when my closets are organized and in shape, that triggers everything else. So after my closets are done, then all my work stuff comes together. So if you're paralyzed by what you need to spring clean with your career, maybe start with one thing at home, one small thing at home. And once you do all of that, things will fall into place. So this is great. We got a ton of comments. You want to address some of those, Beth?
Sure, let's look at that. So home office.
Yep.
Uh, yes, Chad, I agree. Tightening up our website, making sure everything is on brand, including your newsletter. Give me a holler, Chad. I can help you with that. And Emily said events, collaborations. Yeah, I agree. So last year, so I was a Pepper Lane leader. Pepper Lane was a women's networking group. And I was kind of getting to the place where I was like, do I want to lead any more meetings? Like, I was like, this is an hour and a half of my time every month. I enjoy it, but can I use it for something else? And they actually closed. They actually folded. And so they made the decision for me.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah,
There
so
you
that
go.
was okay. And I
Yeah.
agree. Oh my God, Susie Moon, taxes, for the love of you know who. I just sent off all my stuff the other day. It's such a relief to get that off your shoulders. And I actually like that. I like cleaning out the files. My husband does that part. He'll take out all the things that we've saved over the years, like your bills from this company and that company, take them all out, put them away, start fresh. Oh, I love it, but I hate to do it. I hate to start it, but the feeling afterwards is really great.
Yeah,
Office
I don't
space,
mind.
we have a lot of office space here. And let's see. Lydia said, taking courses to advance my knowledge at work.
So Lydia, what's that spring cleaning? I love that. So you're spring cleaning your mind, I guess, right? You're spring cleaning what's going on in your head, or you're spring cleaning your priorities. Maybe it's the priorities to take the course. I think Chad's comment is a great one to
Yeah.
end on, which is spring cleaning the excuses to make sure I'm taking care of myself. And that spring cleaning the excuses, I really like that. I really like that. because
That's
you're
right.
not, keeping some maybe, but kind of tweaking the rest. I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You need an extra big broom for that. Get that stuff out of there.
Get it out. Well, everyone, this was fun. This was
Yeah.
super fun.
Um,
We are going to continue, I think, the LinkedIn Lives. And for those of you that are not part of our podcast community, you can just follow us anywhere with your podcasts where you stream your podcasts. If you enjoyed this, share it with someone. That would be great. Sharing is caring. There is a replay. You can see the replay anytime you want. And what else do we have, Beth? Do we want to? Do we want to? Do we want to? It's okay if the answer is no. Do we want to socialize the idea of the shadow self? That's one that I'm not sure about. What do you think?
we haven't gotten to yet. Well, I
No.
would. I'm gonna. Do you want to give a spiel on that? A
Yeah,
little.
sure. Rosa Pinto, that is a name I have not seen in legit 25 years. Rosa, OMG, Rosa. So for those of you who are still on, we're thinking about doing a podcast around the shadow self. And this is a pretty, kind of out there philosophical approach made famous by Carl Jung that
Mm,
says when you look at what you don't like in other people, and this is my layman's version, when you look at what you don't like in other people, it's really a characteristic in yourself that you don't like. So if I were to say, well, I don't like this about Beth, blah 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 blah, it's really I know that I have that in myself and I don't like it in myself. So it's a little out there. We have a small group here that if you guys would be into that, just throw a note in the chat and let us know if you think that's something you'd like to explore. We're probably going to do it anyway, frankly, but
that's right.
it'll help us prioritize. We think it's I just think it's really interesting. It's really interesting.
Right. Yeah. Any,
Whoops, sorry, go ahead, Beth.
that's
Go.
okay. And yeah, anything else? Like in the back of my mind, Nancy, we've talked about this a few times. I would like to, at some point, either on its own or in another podcast, discuss soft skills and why they're called soft skills.
Oh, we're not calling it that anymore.
All right. We're looking
Nope.
for.
So why don't we do that after I'm speaking at Disrupt HR at next week, and one of the things I talk about is HR's role in creating the glass ceiling.
Mhm.
And one of the things I say is let's stop calling it soft skills.
Oh,
Hello. Let's stop calling it soft skills. Anyway, so I think are we out? We out? We out? Are we like
we're
out, signing
out.
off?
We're out. Everybody,
Peace out?
fabulous day. Have a fabulous day.
So awesome. I'm going to end the broadcast and see what happens. Never know.